Blake, Zeke.
Excuse me. Explain to me why Blake is over Zeke.
I think he was more important to the team,
No, he
but
wasn't.
by a thin margin, just a
What?
razor thin margin.
How before that Zeke run, okay? Ohio State's offense was stagnant. I think they had negative before that drive. They
Yeah,
had
you're right.
negative
It's just
yardage.
third string quarterback. All right, fine. Zeke, Blake, JK. Are you
Fine.
not you're not putting Blake above JK? All righty, welcome back to another episode of the Scarlet and Blue Show. Garrison, it's still early in the day, somewhat early in the day. You've
Yeah,
already upset USC fans again.
that was the plan. That was the plan. I can't stand them. It wasn't even my fault, Bryce. I just got on the TL and then out of nowhere came USC slanted towards Ohio State. I'm just like, I could have swore they were 8-5 last year. Like I
Are are allyships being bonded right now between incoming Pac schools and Big Ten schools? Feels like Ohio
yeah.
State and Oregon are just cuddling up against each other, and as a result, we're going to see maybe Michigan, USC, Michigan, Washington. I don't know. You and your Ducks, the Bucks and the Ducks are a little too tight,
It's
a little too
weird,
cozy
Bryce.
right now.
It's weird, Bryce, because it's like a like lovers scorn. Like we like we love each other, but there's just something that's not there's something that doesn't click. And I don't like them. I like Oregon. I like Oregon, but I still think it was disrespectful how they left that duck in the middle of the Ohio State field. So the payback has to be paid.
The disrespect at Buckeye. What's the field called now? You guys have a dump safe light field. Is that what it is? The
Mhm.
disrespect on that field from opposing schools, starting with the letter O, is fantastic. Oregon putting a little rubber
Yeah,
ducky on the O, and then
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma planting the flag.
And that was frustrating because I mean it was like Baker Mayfield forgot to be blasting him by 20 plus the year before.
He got his revenge.
Yeah, whatever. How's he doing? Never mind.
He's doing fine. He's doing just fine.
He's all right.
Better than most Buckeye quarterbacks.
Not CJ.
Yeah. You guys are, thank goodness CJ's doing well. Or else you guys would be in turmoil right now.
Well, Justin's fine. He just needs to get out of Chicago. From the politics to the team that plays crap.
All right. Well, we've got the offseason continues. I'm trying to think, Garrison. We've got a fun
Mm,
topic that we're going to go through today. But any other news off the jump? Oh, I will add something, and then feel free to jump in with any Buckeye
mm.
news. Portal closed for Michigan
Yep.
last week, so you get
Mm,
the 30 days when your coach leaves.
yep.
Get to go. One notable transfer in Keon Sab, a few others, but I just want to say how impressed I am and how that can't go understated. So bravo, Sharon. Bravo, the staff. Spring portal is going to come up here soon, and so a lot can change. But for that, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the spring portal, I think if kids do transfer, I think it'll mostly have to do with just not clicking with their position coaches. Outside of that, I don't see where that happens really.
Yeah. Yeah. Any Buckeye news off the jump?
Nothing that comes to mind, Bryce. We I think we got a lot of our good news out of the way early in the year. Honestly, it's only February right now. And I mean, it's going pretty slow right now, and I expect it to. I think Dover's getting ready for the spring ball to start, and looking forward to that.
I will say the what is his name? The menace to sports guy.
Zach Smith and Chris.
And Chris, yeah,
Yep.
those guys. I saw a clip basically saying that Ryan Day will not be on the hot seat if he loses to Michigan this year. And we don't have to get into that now, but to start that narrative this soon, there got to be some concerns in Ohio right now. If we're pushing that narrative already.
No comment.
All right. All right. We'll table that one for later. All right, so fun topic here, and you teased it a bit Um,
Probably like
on
a week,
Twitter.
week ago I did. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, I did a week ago and the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So you went through it. And yeah, so going the three deeps for the two respective programs. So I think we've got our most of our positions aligned, so we'll be able to match, and we can run graphics with this as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I say, Garrison, kick it off. Provide any other context to this fun
Yes.
exercise that we're doing.
Okay. So one of the rules is only one offensive line we can pick. The years are 2013 to 2023. Those are the seasons that we can use. We get to pick three players for each position, from quarterback to running back to tight end to defensive line to safety. Offensive line, you only get one offensive line you can pick. You only get
Wait,
one.
what? Not
Yeah.
three?
No. So this is why I said this. Is why I said because like we. This is why I did that. There's so many players that interchange on the offensive line. I thought it'd be better to just pick the one line you would use. Pick the one O line.
Wow.
So I mean,
Okay.
I guess you really got two to pick from. But I have something to combat that. I've been ready for a week now. A week.
All right, kick us off.
All right, Bryce. Quarterback. I put CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, Dwayne Haskins. Do you have any quarterback from Michigan that you believe fits in that three man rotation?
You guys are such like a pass heavy offense. So your people are gonna look at the stats and they're just gonna be
Mm-hmm.
like, who's got the better stats. I think who was the most productive with, because I think this conversation has to have some more like added context to it. And so the reason I
Okay.
say that is because I could probably pick people from the last 3 years of the Michigan um, football program,
And
but
I would allow you to do so, sir.
but I want to extend it on because I do think there were guys who contributed
Mm-hmm.
more, but they just weren't on the best team. Where if they were on the team this year or the last 3 years, it would have been different. Um, so well, yeah, we'll get into that. I've got a couple examples of that. So my top three: JJ number one. Um, then I wanted to include Denard in this, but his last season was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So then I'd go JJ, then I'm going to go Shea Patterson,
Okay. Yeah.
and then I'm going to go Devin Gardner. And again, my thoughts here are overall career productivity, because
Okay.
like Hassan Haskins had one awesome year. And if we're going to talk about like the best years, but I'm talking about most production from a running back, most production from a player. Gardner played, he was receiver a few of those years,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's like number 7 in passing. I have to go back and look at the total ranking. So JJ, Shea, and Devin.
Okay.
I'm taking JJ over any of your guys. But I think
Oh,
aside from that,
but can we? But let's have a real football discussion here. You. Can, I know that you are not a fan. You are a stan.
oh yeah,
So I understand it. And by the way, I forgot to put the context in also for the rules. NFL, no, anything in
yeah,
the NFL has
that's good.
nothing to do with this conversation.
That's good.
Um, if, in my estimation, Bryce, CJ's above everyone on this. It's not a conversation to me. His It's not even about his stats to me. His ball placement, the way he levels his passes, completely different. JJ's down on his level.
Can I
Now let's
combat that and say that CJ doesn't really run the ball, and that's important in college football?
yeah, but I mean, fun fact, Bryce, CJ's first touchdown ever, 45-yard run. So I he just
That's a fun fact.
and also he did come out and say he wasn't allowed to. He was told by Ryan Day to not run the ball. So it wasn't even had nothing to do with him. It's more of the simple fact that Day wouldn't let him and told him not to. And he's a
If
good soldier.
Man, I've said this since day one. If CJ Stroud had a capable coach and didn't have to deal with the Michigan programs had to deal with, he'd be the greatest quarterback in Ohio State history, right?
He is the greatest quarterback in Ohio State history, and capable coach is crazy coming out of you. But this is not a coach conversation right now. Justin Fields, I'll be quick, and I'll be quick with this. Justin Fields, that first year, Bryce, in 2019, he came into the playoff with 40 passing touchdowns with one interception.
Yep.
Now we can talk about production and all that, but it's not as though JJ hasn't had chances to run the ball. He just chooses not to run the ball. I think we both agree that JJ's not the runner Justin is. That's not a conversation.
Push
He's
back on
not.
that.
He's not 6'2", 235, 230, running a 4.4. He's a sub, like a low 4.4. That's not who he is.
What is
I,
JJ's official
I,
height
I,
and weight?
I've seen he's like 210, like 6'4". He's lean. I've
6'3",
seen
220, 6'3", 202.
he ain't 230.
Yeah,
He's
no,
at
Fields a big boy.
yeah, and so then Haskins, he threw the ball a lot, but
He did.
50 touchdowns is 50 touchdowns. I don't know what to tell you.
He had what, 1 year too,
So
right?
one,
Who has the best record as a quarterback? Was it
I mean,
JT? Who's the best record with Buckeye?
you mean Justin?
Oh, did Justin? He probably had the best record, didn't he?
Yeah, he had two losses in his career.
Lost to Clemson and lost to
Um,
who else did they lose to?
Bama.
Yeah, in the playoff.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
All right. Well, how about I'll give you some leeway on this because Haskins played 1 year. We also like, and I am going to throw that argument out there when it comes to production, a full career worth. I'll give you Haskins / JJ on that.
Oh, you're not gonna give JJ the full spot.
No, because he's not. Like I said, when we talk about arm talent and all those things, I don't think he has Haskins' arm talent. I've seen all three of those quarterbacks I gave you level deep passes. JJ doesn't level deep passes. So
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All the arguments and all of the conversation right now, especially as we are gearing up for the draft and the combine,
mm,
is JJ didn't have as many opportunities to showcase to throw, which means any mistakes he made are highlighted because he's not throwing the ball as much. And so the conversation is going to be
right.
how good is he really? So he'll be able to showcase things in the combine and the pro days, and then we'll see when he gets to the NFL. But
Mm.
the kid's also a
And I want
winner.
to remind you, Bryce, especially with CJ and Justin, on less pass attempts, he threw more interceptions than them. that's that's a stat. So
I'm
on less throws, he threw more interceptions.
Oh, really? I have to look at that.
Yeah, I remember Justin threw one interception going into the playoffs, 3 total
Yeah.
that year. So, all right, well, we can move on to running back.
All right.
We can try not to stay too long on these.
That was good.
I'll let you go first on this one.
All right. So running backs, my 3 deep running backs. Blake's number 1. I think as one of the best backs in the last decade in the Big Ten. I thought last year he could have won the Heisman. Didn't go down against Illinois.
Tough.
That was tough. That, and just an absolute fiend. Doesn't have the breakaway speed that I think other backs might have, but he's got the best cut in the game. One of the shiftiest dudes, just a little bowling ball.
Yeah.
So I think he's 1. Number 2, I'm going to go with Karan Higdon. People forget about Karan, a workhorse in the early years with Harbaugh. And then again, I want to put Hassan Haskins in there, but he had the one good year. And he had production being 2 years prior. But thought about having him because he had 5 touchdowns against you guys, which is a record. But I'm going to go with old reliable, again, on a not good teams. Fitzgerald Toussaint.
Fitzgerald. Oh, that's a name right there. That's a name.
That guy does not get enough praise for the teams he was on. And he was a workhorse. And he had to split reps with, I think he was splitting reps with like the Ty Isaacs.
You put him over Hassan.
I think so.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think Hassan would have put the better stats had he been playing since he was a freshman. But
remember, I think Hassan, if I remember right, he came in as linebacker. So
yeah,
he wasn't a natural running back.
His freshman year, though, I remember him playing against Ohio State at running back. And he got the ball maybe four times. And every time he touched the ball, he got 5+. And then they take him out. And I kept asking myself, why are they taking him out the game? Just why?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay,
He ended up being something special.
yeah, he did. I like that three. I like that Fitzgerald Toussaint. That's a good name.
Thank you.
Number one, I have Zeke. I think Zeke is otherworldly. I think he's on a planet on himself. He has the track speed, the size, the awareness, the toughness, the agility, all that. And he has the. I think he's the when you talk about the goats of the college football playoff. I think he's the first face you see for what he did. And that it's not even that, but the 3 game stretch. I mean, you can say 4 starting with Michigan, but was Wisconsin, Alabama, and Oregon. He just lit the world on fire. Number 2, I have J.K. Dobbins.
Yep. He was, yeah. I would put him.
Long career at Ohio State.
Yep.
Long
He was
career.
really good.
Last season there went for 2,003 yards, 23 total touchdowns. It was just, and I think he averaged, I think like 6.7 or 9. It made no sense. It really made no sense that year.
Was
And
his
then,
last year 19? Because Trey Sermon came in 20, right? So his
yeah.
last year was 19.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then number 3, Bryce, Carlos Hyde.
Ooh. One year
Carlos
though,
Hyde.
right? Just the one? Or
No.
did he have multiple
So
years?
he had multiple years, Bryce. And I'm gonna read this to you because I posted it earlier today, and a lot of people. Carlos Hyde is the most underrated running backs in Ohio State history. Bryce, in his last year there, mind you, this guy is 6'2", 240. It's a big boy.
He's a big boy.
Senior season, he had 1,521 rushing yards on 208 carries. That's 7.3 a touch. 15 touchdowns, and he only played 11 out of the 14 games.
That's right.
That's insane. I mean, in the year before, he was splitting carries with who was it that year? I can't remember who was splitting carries with that year, but he had 970 yards the year before, 566 and 141 his freshman year, 37 total touchdowns, over 3,000 rushing yards. It's ridiculous.
I think he would go down as one of the more underrated backs. No doubt.
Yes.
I remember him. He was a horse.
So
yeah, who did he split? I'm like looking at pictures trying to figure out that era.
I mean, him, Jordan Hall, I think.
Yeah.
Buddy from Detroit.
Oh, Weber.
Yeah, he was splitting carries with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's right. Michigan lost like Weber.
Now, because of the other 2 names in your in that 3 deep, where do you I'll take Hyde out and we're gonna bring
I think it's between
Blake
Zeke, Blake, and JK.
And where do you put Blake in there?
Both. I think Zeke and Blake are number 1 because that 2019 Ohio State team had so much talent on it, and I firmly believe that when you have that much talent at quarterback and at wide receiver, it opens up the running game in the same way that if you have a running back like JK, it opens the pass game. So, no disrespect to those guys, but Zeke carried the load for you guys. He opened up the door for Cardell, and like you said, some of his long run was it against Oregon, that long run that he went through went to the left side. I think it was Oregon.
No.
Was that
85
Bama?
yards through the heart
That's
of the
right.
South.
That's okay. I hate that I made you bring that up, but
Can they catch him? No, they can't.
I think you have. So
Oh.
I think it's between him and Blake because I think Blake's run against Bama at the end of the game, the Rose Bowl, was sick, and then his 2 touchdowns that put away Washington. I don't know, man.
2,000 yards, Bryce.
I know that's what Zeke had.
That's what JK had.
Yeah,
this season.
Yeah, I know, but again, that offense was loaded.
And JK in his career has 4,459 rushing yards. And 606, Bryce, 645 receiving yards. That's it. He did all that in 3 years.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. He played 3 years there.
Yeah. How about this? All right. I know where I have Blake. You have Blake where you have him. We can watch that. We have our own. Cause I think you have because I think you're also bringing the championship with it and what he did there. Um, he was
Blake
the
had
back
3,700 yards rushing. How many did JK have?
4,459,
Oh,
and
geez.
then
Okay.
and then 645 receiving yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Blake had 411. Um, yeah. I don't know. I'm going to go. I'm going to be Homer pick.
You know
I'm going to
what?
take between Zeke and Blake
Where did Blake finish fifth in the Heisman race?
his junior year. Or was
Yeah,
that?
was it? Yeah, Junior was at fifth.
I think so.
I think JK finished like sixth.
All right. That'll be our split.
That's gonna be your split.
All right.
Do we have to talk wide receiver?
No, we don't really
Okay.
have to, but I'm gonna give
Yeah, let's
mine
hear it. Let's hear it.
because
Let's hear it.
I battled with this one because let's call a spade a spade. Not a lot of yards from Michigan wide receivers over
Yeah.
the past decade. Number one, the great Ronnie Bell. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yep.
Actually, no. Am I surprised? I'm not surprised with that. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean he was there. He's been at Michigan for a long time, so you get more chances to put up yards, but the guy played consistently his entire career.
Since his freshman year, he played.
Since freshman year. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, he had that drop against Penn State
Mm-hmm.
that would have tied the game. Well, would have. I think they'd go for two. I don't know. They would have scored and would have given him a chance to tie. And bounced back. Ended up being part of the group that carried them to a
Yeah.
couple Big Ten championships. So then after that, it gets a little hairy. So I'm gonna go with Amara Darboh at number
Amari
two.
Darb. Okay.
And I'm gonna go with my guy Roman Wilson at number three. And then honorable mentions were Cornelius Johnson. But then here's one I wanted to say this because here's a name you'll like. Jeremy
Cornelius.
Gallen.
Wait, you had number three, Cornelius Johnson.
Not him at four.
Who was number three?
Roman.
Over
Roman
Nico
Wilson.
Collins? Over Nico Collins?
I have Nico as my honorable mention. But remember, Nico was behind DPJ
And he
and
put up more.
Tarik Black.
He put up more stats than them.
Yeah. Well, he had that. Remember, he had that really good end of the 19th season. And then he had the chance to come back in 20 and COVID hit. He opted out of it.
And he was the only one with a pulse against Ohio State that year. You guys
Yep.
got blown out.
Remember that? I do remember that. He had a
Mhm.
couple touchdowns. He would have been special. And I got crap on Twitter.
Had he came to Ohio State, yeah.
Probably.
What'd you get crap for?
Not giving Nico enough credit. I've been a Nico guy all along, and you guys gave me the business that I haven't been riding with him long enough, which is just not true. So a name though I think you'd like on there, Jeremy Gallen.
Yeah, I was a fan of him.
Didn't have much talent around him, but that dude produced.
He did.
All right, so I think it's safe to say you guys probably go 4 or 5 deep that
I can
finally
name
get to Ronnie. So
I can name 10 before I even get to your number one.
All right.
But
who's your top 3? I actually do want to hear.
Marv, JSN, Garrett Wilson. I think all three of them in their own right are very special. Could be controversial, but I think all three of them since 2000 all have a say in who the best wide receiver is in Ohio State since then. I think Garrett Wilson is. That's just my personal opinion.
Over JSN.
Yeah. A few, just like you, Chris Olave, Devin Smith.
Underrated.
I think he averaged over 20 a catch. So, I mean,
Was he the one who had that big catch against Bama? Or did he throw it? Did he throw that pass?
That was Evan Spencer that threw the pass. Fun fact, at Ohio State football camp when I was in middle school, he was my roommate.
Sick.
Yeah. But no, Devin Smith, yeah, he runs flies. That's it. Because he's faster than everybody.
Yeah, he's fast.
Yeah, those are a few names.
Oh, dude, I feel like you're missing some. Paris Campbell, Michael Thomas.
They're not those three.
Noah Brown. Or not Noah Brown. That's the kid who went to Iowa. Who am I thinking of?
No, Noah Brown went to Ohio State.
Oh, he didn't transfer to Iowa? Who's the guy transferred to Iowa? Who am I thinking of?
Last year?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Okay. All right, so you go Marv, JSN, Garrett
Yeah.
Wilson.
Yep. And this next one, I might have to concede.
All right.
Well, let's go. Let's go. This is the one I had to dig deep for
Wait,
this.
which one are we on?
Tight end.
Okay. Yeah, I
My
think,
three.
yeah, go
Oh,
for
go
it.
ahead. Oh, I
No,
was
no.
gonna say so. Cade Stover, number one. Now, even though I believe this guy is more talented, he doesn't have the production. Jeremy Ruckert,
Mm.
and number three, Jeff Hireman.
Oh, I
But
actually don't
those,
remember that name.
yeah, those he's the from the Urban Meyer years. But those like Jeremy Ruckert and Hireman are better tight ends than Cade Stover. The problem is Cade produced.
Yeah.
And it's just it is what it is. It is what it is. So
Yeah.
now go ahead and put
Jake Butt,
Yeah.
Jake Big Booty Butt is number
Pause.
one.
Pause.
And then I actually went back and forth with this one because I was like, all right, who got drafted? Who had like the potential? Like I thought Eric All could have been a great tight end. He was one of the guys I was bummed to see leave. I do think Colson Loveland is on that list.
So
I think he's
he's wait,
special.
Colson's number two?
Colson's number two.
There's no way.
Oh yeah. I think by the end of all this,
We're talking right now.
I know. Well, but I mean, we're talking about potential. We're talking about production, and his career is not over. So I think you can account for potential. He'll
Okay.
be the go-to. He was the go-to.
He'll be wide receiver one this year.
Yeah. Um, and then I've got Luke Schoonmaker, Zach Gentry.
You have those.
Who am I missing? You seem like I'm missing
Wait,
somebody.
no. I'm confused on why you have Loveland over Gentry and
Schoonmaker?
Schoonmaker. I'm confused by that.
I think he is. I think he's a better tight end wide receiver.
He is not a better block. He's nowhere near the block that those guys are, and they still produced.
Yeah.
But as you
I'd have to
but
look at that. I haven't watched the tape. I haven't seen the stats on his blocking.
mhm.
I haven't seen him miss many blocks. Ooh,
Well,
one guy maybe I should have included was Devin Funches, but he was kind of a wide receiver.
no, he's a tight end. He was a tight end.
He was good.
So who are you kicking out? Because Devin Funches has to be in.
Yeah.
Who are you kicking out?
I'm gonna kick out Gentry.
That's interesting. I listen. Just like wide receiver, Bryce, I will concede this.
All right.
I will concede this if I'm just being honest. I think guys like Jeremy Ruckert are on the level of every single tight end you said. But again, we said in this you need production.
Yeah.
And Jeremy didn't have the same production.
Hey, did we have fullback on this list or?
No.
All right. Well, I got three. I was we had it on. Max Bredeton is number one. He owns Caleb Downs.
I don't have a Bryce.
And then Siana Uma.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ben Mason. And then honorable mention Joe Carriage. Boom. We win that one. All right, O line. So I think this is preposterous to only pick one.
You picked the one O line that you think trumps all.
So I mean, do you go with Zinter? Just given how good he is, All American.
No, I said the offensive line is a unit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, well, I mean, that's, geez, pick the last 3 years.
Pick one. Well, not last year, but probably the two prior that were way better than this past season.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to go
one,
last
Bryce.
year's.
This past one?
Or no, sorry, 2 years ago.
Okay.
22.
Oh. Okay.
Because you had Olu at the center, and then the two guards, and then, oh gosh, who are the tackles? Was it Barnhart? And somebody else I'm forgetting. I thought we were talking about individual players. Because I had Zinter, Lewan.
That's way too many.
Yeah, all right. Shout out Taylor Lewan.
Okay.
All right.
So
who's? I'll go 22. What line are you taking?
I'm taking the 2019 Ohio State offensive line. And I wrote down some things, Bryce. They gave up 31 sacks. had 3,735 yards rushing at 5.6 per, 39 rushing touchdowns. And I think that, and also it's one of the top 3 offenses in college football history. And though you got, and the Joe Moore Award was not a thing yet, it was not a thing yet. So that's out the conversation. That's not what we're talking about.
There's no O-line award?
At the time, I don't believe there was. I could be wrong. But at the time, I don't believe there was.
All right, we'll see.
So if you would for me real quick, can you look up what your guys' stats were in 2022?
What do you mean? What stats? Like
I want
looking up rushing yards?
rushing yards, touchdowns, all that. I want to see. I want to hear it.
All right. Well, you list off yours while I look.
Well, I just did. I told you 3,735
Oh, you did.
yards rushing.
I'd have to look. All right, total. Okay.
I mean, we're talking Thayer Mumford, Wyatt Davis, Jonah Jackson, all guys in the league too. But the NFL's not the conversation. So
All right. So in 2022, it's spinning. This is great. Great TV.
great radio.
Wow. MGO Blue is not a good site.
Oh, can you say that again, please, for everyone in the back?
No.
No. Here, Bryce, I got you. Watch this. I'm gonna help you out here. So in 2019, Bryce, this is Michigan. I'm sorry, in 2022 or 21 actually. No, we said 22. You said 22 or 21?
22.
All right. So in 22, I mean, well, Blake had 1,400. Donovan was rounded up, called 1,000. So right there, we're at 24. JJ had 300. So we'll go about 25, 20, 24, 2,400. Oh, yeah, you guys had less rushing yards, almost by 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, that 2019 offense was pretty legit. And then how many of those guys are drafted? I think that's another stat to consider.
No,
like
what?
Like how many of those 5 were drafted? All of them?
All of them were.
Who was the center? It was what is his name? Ohio State center.
In 2019?
Yeah.
I can't remember right now. But I do know every single one of those guys in the league because, well, 3 of them went to the league that year, then the other 2 came the next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
all right.
Some guys came after 2020. So let's get this straight, just so we're clear. And just so you know, everyone, we will do defense next time.
Yep.
That one's probably going to be a little bit harder.
I
think that's going to be because I struggled, Bryce.
Let's talk about it later. Let's talk about it later.
This
is good. We'll get into it.
But as of right now, this is what we know. I have won the offensive side of this conversation.
So we're going. So let's recap. So quarterback, we're going to go with
2 Ohio State, 1 Michigan.
Okay, that's fair.
Running back, 2 Ohio State, 1 Michigan.
Well, let's go. So CJ, Justin Fields, JJ.
Haskins /
No, JJ.
I'll give it to him for the championship.
Okay. Blake, Zeke.
Excuse me.
I'm going Blake.
Why is Bryce? You can't put. All right. Explain to me why Blake is over Zeke.
I think he was more important to the team.
No, he wasn't.
But by a thin margin, a razor thin margin.
How are you more important to your team when Bryce Hall? Just so you know, before that that Zeke run, okay, Ohio State's offense went stagnant. I think they had negative before that drive.
Yeah, you're right.
Yardage.
It's a 3rd string quarterback. All right, fine. Zeke, Blake, JK. Fine. Are you not going to you're not putting Blake above JK? All right.
He almost had 1,000 more yards than him.
But that offense was insane.
Bryce, in 1 less year. Now, hold on, real quick. Blake is not a receiving threat by any means necessary.
Ask Alabama that. Are you
I don't
kidding?
get.
Are you kidding me?
I don't. That's Alabama. That's one of those. That's probably the most poorest Alabama team
Oh my
in
gosh. All right.
history. That's
That's
outside his first year when they got sandblasted by Utah. But okay, fine. We can disagree on that. But regardless, we have the same three.
those three. Yep.
Wide receiver, we don't got to talk about. Tight end, we don't got to talk about.
Fullback, we get.
Offensive line,
We'll let the fans decide.
we'll let the fans decide. I'll detail everything in there. I'll detail it all.
All right. List
But
out the notable stats. All right, that was
yeah,
good. That was fun. That was good. It was good back and forth.
yeah. How do are we that bad at? No, we just don't give our tight ends the ball. That's the problem.
You guys got too many weapons on the outside. My favorite tight end in Ohio State history is G. Scott. Love that kid. Will forever love that kid. Dude, you remember his penalty in 22? You guys fake? Was it a fake? What was it? No, it was a short pass.
I don't know
He
what
blocked him out of bounds.
Bryce. I don't know what play happened. All I remember was me and Ryan Day in unison saying, "Get him off the effing field."
Yeah.
You
Shout out G.
can
Scott.
you can literally see Ryan Day say that on the because it
Yeah,
hands
he
to
did
his
that
face
thing.
and he said, "Get off the field."
Yep.
Like,
God, amazing.
it's not amazing. He was a top 15 wide receiver. I think like top 15 wide receiver coming out of high school.
Ooh, yeah.
All
Good
right,
stuff.
man.
All right, that was fun. Yeah, we'll do defense next. And then yeah, I think we'll probably talk some draft stuff too. And then oh yeah, you want to plug some of the maybe don't give away every guest, but we've got some fun stuff coming up with
All right,
guests.
well, guys, so Bryce and I came up with an awesome idea. Coming up here soon, we will be having. I think I'll give a few of the guests, but we'll be having something that we call the 10-week war, where we have 5 Michigan guests, and
Such a good
5
name.
Ohio State. It is such a great name, and 5 Ohio State guests, one for each week for 10 weeks. We have some guys like Cleveland Mike, my guy Cam, man, Lexi for University of Michigan side. Oh man, who else? I'm blanking on names. Oh, my man, Maze Madman. It's gonna be awesome. We get to hang out with them, talk with them, get their thoughts on the upcoming season on last year's season, especially for some of those Michigan fans. It's gonna be worth it. My guy Juck. All right, I'm getting all the names. Let me
Yeah, you're
stop.
giving up all names, but
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
so
Fun stuff. Each of those guys has their own content, own maybe angle they'll approach things and their own side of things, and it'll be fun to just kind of yuck it up. And it's gonna be 2-on-1 in both ways each time, so it'll be fun.
oh well, like that. Yeah.
Disgusting.
OH.
Go blue. I don't know.